Mendoza, Jason.
Yes.
I know. Raiders not exactly expected to light it up, but man, I love this kid. Has spent a few days now in his first training camp as a pro. He's learning the offense. He's getting, quote, a sprinkling of work with the first team. Kirk Cousins, of course, expected to get the rest of the work with the starters, but one of the biggest storylines heading into week 1 of this season is who is going to start. Mendoza on a podcast recently, and he talked about this competition with Cousins. Take a listen to this.
Everybody in the quarterback room is a top-tier quarterback, and it's going to be competing with each other, not competing against each other. Competing with each other, pushing each other to be the best quarterback we can possibly be for the Las Vegas Raiders and to enable to then win as many games as possible, rather than against, withholding information, wishing maybe not the best intent on somebody.
How do you not love this kid?
I do.
I know you're Mr. AI. It's like as if you put into ChatGPT, like, make me a quarterback, saying all the things that I would want a young quarterback to say. That would be this kid. Do you understand the distinction he's making? And I guess my question to you is, how sure are you that this kid is going to be a success in the NFL? Because I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, Jason.
Well,
I feel so positive about this kid.
Well, let's be clear. The competing with idea is interesting, right? So if, you know, running backs work out all the time. Wide receivers get together and work out. But they're not competing against each other for one spot, right? They're both on the team. And they're both going to get target share. One guy obviously is better than the other. He's going to get more targets. But this is different, right? This is like, we're battling for the starting spot. So, like, I don't totally understand how his logic is we're competing with. I'm competing with Kirk Cousins.
Well, he's just saying that we are both going to try to individually do our best and may the best man win, as opposed to some sort of more Machiavellian, manipulative, like Kirk's not going to help him. Or, you know, look, we've seen veteran quarterbacks in the past say about rookies behind them, like, it's not my job to teach him to take my job, right?
This situation is remarkably clear-cut and reflects exceptionally well on the Raiders organization, specifically on Fernando Mendoza. It speaks volumes about the culture being cultivated, the maturity within the locker room, and the intelligence of the players involved. This is very, very straightforward. Things can get incredibly competitive and surprisingly tense inside a locker room, even among players who are ostensibly on the same team. It's not always harmonious. It's not always a collective sing-along. So what Mendoza is articulating here is ultimately about elevating the team as a whole. He's communicating that they're all in this together, competing collectively to become the best versions of themselves. Whoever ends up as the starting quarterback, that's fantastic. They're unified in their goals. Obviously, there will still be competition against each other in the purest sense of the word, but it's a reframing of the entire dynamic. Mendoza is also addressing the darker side of competition that athletes rarely acknowledge. He's essentially saying he doesn't wish ill will against someone else, which is notable because that is often what you do as a player. If you're on the bench or not in the game in that moment, there is absolutely a part of you, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, sometimes just a passing thought, sometimes burning into your soul, that wants your team to lose so you can get your opportunity. You want him to fail. Any athlete who can't admit that is lying. G to you. They're lying to you. Or they've lived the most charmed life in the history of the world where they were never competing with anyone else because they were just amazing from the start and never had to look back. I don't know if that's ever actually happened to any player, because even an aging veteran will eventually have someone trying to take their job. So Mendoza is speaking to that aspect as well, reframing it as, no, we're in this together. We're cheering for each other, rooting for each other, ultimately trying to put this team in the best possible position to win. In many ways, that's why certain coaching staffs don't want certain backup quarterbacks, they want someone who fully embraces the backup role. And that role is genuinely important. We see it all the time. On TV, you see the backup quarterback talking to the starter, looking at the tablet together, wearing the headset together. All that stuff is really important. If it wasn't important, it wouldn't be happening. It's having all of that cohesion. This actually reminded me of when Michael Vick lost his job to Nick Foles. Vick was right there on Foles' shoulder, engaged and supportive. That stuff matters. That's what Mendoza is talking about more than anything. It's such a great and important message because it's unifying. Just look at the other end of the spectrum, the Philadelphia Eagles with A.J. Brown. That's the contrast. I continue to love everything that comes out of the Raiders organization, not just from Mendoza but from the entire operation. This team has overnight become so mature, so buttoned up, so organized, so well run. When I usually talk about execution, I'm referring to on-field performance, but now I mean everything, speaking to the press, executing free agency, executing trades, executing the draft. Every step along the way has been flawless. Even the way they handled the Max Crosby situation, when they were going to trade him, that was handled beautifully. When they did trade him, that was handled perfectly. When it fell through because the Ravens backed out, that was handled perfectly. Everything they've done, even the obstacles they've faced, has been handled impeccably. This is just another example of that. Because I'm telling you right now, it is such a different perception when you have multiple quarterbacks competing for a starting role. If you reframe it, if you understand that it's not about me but about we, and that you're all here to help each other, and in fact everyone will have a concrete role, even if you're not the starter, you're still helping put the team in a position to win through practices, meeting rooms, drills, or on the sideline. We all have a role. Even Mendoza, whose primary job right now is to learn and grow, even if he's just a second stringer, he understands he can still contribute. He's on the tablet, he's sitting next to Cousins, not only learning but potentially offering something valuable as well. It's very clear. It's very obvious. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Fernando Mendoza? He's competing with, not against. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree. Let's get into some discussions, get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.